You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
It's that time of year again. Everyone knows that the holidays can become overwhelming quickly, so the sooner that you get things done, the better. For both shoppers and businesses, the best time to score great deals during the holidays is Black Friday and Cyber Monday weekend. And that's why you need Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Allbirds and Cowboy e-bikes to entrepreneurs who will be participating in their very first Black Friday or Cyber Monday this year. Shopify has everything you need to succeed from start to finish. First, Shopify's marketing tools help push your brand to the forefront of the chaos, no matter what platform your customers are on. Then, Shopify helps draw customers in with the ease of a convenient checkout with Shop Pay, Shopify's expedited checkout that saves customers information and reduces hassle. The best part? Shop Pay has been proven to boost conversions, meaning you see less abandoned carts and more profits. You can also stress less knowing that Shopify's award-winning customer support team is on standby 24/7 to help with any issues that arise, allowing you to get back to business as fast as possible. This Black Friday, join thousands of new entrepreneurs hearing for the first time with Shopify. Sign up for your free trial today at shopify.com/income. That's shopify.com/income. Go to shopify.com/income and make this Black Friday one to remember.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast. This week, I am talking to Guthrie Trapp. Now, this one is a little bit different than what you're probably used to hearing because, Guthrie and I actually had a podcast the day before. Wait, what do you mean? What are you talking about, Blake? That doesn't make any sense. Hey, I do a lot of podcasting, and sometimes there's some crossover because the other podcast that I do, or one of the other podcasts I do, is called the Chasing Tone Podcast. I'm guessing a lot of you have listened to that at some point. On that show, we don't typically do guests. It's usually just my friends, Brian Wampler and Richard Oliver, and we are hanging out being dorks. But we actually had the opportunity to talk to Guthrie, and the schedule just kind of lined up that he was going to come on this podcast the day after. So this is like a part 2. So if you want to hear everything kind of combined together, I would suggest finding that episode of the Chasing Tone Podcast. I believe it's about 2 weeks old now, and you can almost consider this one a part 2. That said, this totally stands on its own. If you don't feel like doing that right now because you're already here listening to this, well, continue on. It doesn't really matter all that much, but that is the way that things happened in real time. So if you want to follow us in real time, that is the way to do it. But it's a great episode. Guthrie's a great guy, lots of insight. He's been in Nashville forever playing guitar. He's an excellent guitar player, and he's an excellent educator, and we talk a lot about that stuff. So without further ado, let's get into this episode. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, a show about guitar stuff, occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Wyland, and with me today, I have Guthrie Trapp. Now, we have a very unique situation going on because, as a lot of you are aware, I also do another guitar-based podcast with my friend Brian Wampler and Richard Oliver, and we talked to Guthrie yesterday. So what we're going to do, we're just going to consider this a continuation of our conversation from the Chasing Tone podcast. So if you want to hear part 1, go over to Chasing Tone, listen to his episode from a couple weeks back, and then jump into this one, and it'll be like you're just along for the whole glorious ride. Guthrie, thank you for taking the time for this.
Thank you, buddy. So today I'll give you the real answers today.
Oh, yeah. Good. What do you really think about the British?
Exactly. Yeah. Now that we got him out of there.
Yeah.
Man, great shirt, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm a big Tombstone fan. Probably the most watched movie in my repertoire, I would guess.
Yeah, I've seen that one a handful of times myself. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen, if you're a Western fan, have you ever seen Open Range?
Oh, yeah. One of the best shootouts on film.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because I agree. I think it's definitely one of the best shootouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that scene where he blows the guy through the door with the shotgun.
Yep.
Iconic. Just beautiful.
Incredible.
Yes.
The sound of those guns, man, like they really got it dialed in.
Yep. It's one of those things where it's like, it's just over the top enough to be entertaining as a Hollywood movie, but there's also some elements of realism where they're actually running out of bullets and things
Totally.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I thought it was very realistic. Hey, there's another one. I know we're going to move on to music and stuff, but this is way more fun.
That's fine. Let's go.
The one of the ones that I've seen recently that was a total sleeper is Old Henry.
Oh, I don't know about this one. Tell me more.
Tim Blake Nelson.
Love him.
And I got a funny story about that too, but it's just called Old Henry, and you can find it. I think it might even be on Netflix. But dude, definitely give that a watch.
Okay, we'll do.
Yeah.
Is it like an action-packed thing or a little more drama? What are we going for here?
It's a little bit of everything. It's just one of those you just got to see it, you know.
All right, I like it.
It's got some twists and turns for sure, but it's a damn good one.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, man. Of course, you know, Tim Blake Nelson. You know, people kind of really got to know him when he did "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou."
Mm-hmm.
I was at Fanny's Music down here in East Nashville a couple years ago, and he walked in the door with his son, and I looked up and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, interesting." So struck up a conversation with those guys, and ended up giving him and his son a ride up the road to some thrift store, like garage sale situation, very East Nashville situation. And
oh yeah,
it was just awesome, man. I got him in the front seat, and his son was in the back seat, who's a guitar player in like Brooklyn or somewhere. And man, it was just one of those, you know, I mean, when you live in a town like this, it's happening all the time. But it was another one like, wow, I never thought I'd have this guy in my passenger seat driving him up the road.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. Everything he's in is, it's always a plus when I see he's on the cast. I'm like, oh, all right, this is probably going to be good. Totally,
man. There's certain guys like that, man. You know, Chris Cooper to me is one of those cats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's just a handful of people. You know, I found out about a movie the other day that I feel like I should have known about immediately. It was kind of old at this point. It's from 2007, called Eastern Promises. And once I looked at like the cast and the director and everything, like the concept is like it's a Russian mob movie type of thing.
Yeah.
I was like, how did I miss this? Like,
what's it called again?
Eastern Promises.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, it's supposedly pretty brutal. It's Naomi Watts and Viggo Mortensen, and yeah, it's like a Russian murder mob movie, and it looks incredible. And I guess Viggo was actually up for Best Actor for it that year. And I'm like, how did this movie slip by my radar? I don't know. This has got my name written all over it. So
wow, man, that's awesome. I'm writing that down. Man, you know who else is one of those cats? I mean, we could go on for days, and we won't. But oh god, William H. Macy.
Yeah. Every time he's so good.
Every time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, man, thanks for having me on here. I've done about 6 of these interviews and podcasts in the past couple days because we're launching that new school at Artist Works and all that stuff. And I know we'll talk about it at the end. But, man, you know, I could talk about all these subjects that come up for hours. So if you have any questions, man, just let me know.
Well, I mean, see, this is the thing is I like to see what makes people tick. You know, this thing started out as sort of a gear show back 10 years ago, and now it's sort of evolved into more of a people show. So I love it when it's like, oh, what kind of movies you're into? You know, it was one of the coolest things that I had my buddy, and you're probably your buddy too, I don't know, actually, JD Simo on here a couple months ago, and all we talked about was everything he did on the Springsteen movie. You know, it was such a crazy story. I'd never heard anything like that. But like, people see a lot of the stuff that you do. You put a lot of stuff out there. Are there projects that you've worked on that people would be surprised about?
Well, I just did all the guitar for the latest season of King of the Hill.
You did?
Yeah.
That's you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love that. I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I just did that. That just came out. And then, of course, I was flattered to be a part of that. I mean, you know, incredible. We put together some of the acoustic stuff, and then My trio was the rhythm section, and then I did all the guitar stuff. But and
Perfect fit.
yeah, and then I played on Harry Connick Jr.'s last record, whenever that was, and then God, man, just it's always something. But lately, I'll tell you what I've been focusing on lately is just recording some of these fun, wild tunes, putting them out there. We did the Uncle Larry record last year, which was a success in stereo, and then I've just been recording and releasing some songs for fun. Me and Jed and Book have been doing this guitar party thing where we have went to New York and Chicago and did some select little shows. That's kind of just a fun side project. And then I mainly have been focusing on all this education stuff, online education. I still play with the trio live a good bit every Monday night here in Nashville, where we have people that come from all around the world to hang with us there on Mondays. Of course, Nashville is such a destination that it's all kind of built in. But man, I've mainly been focusing on growing my own business with all the education stuff, man, because it allows me to have the freedom to do all these other things and not be under any pressure,
Yep.
and have everything under one umbrella where I'm not under another artist's thumb to be on their schedule. And as soon as you start getting something going in Nashville with what this is like age old thing, 20s and 30s, you're working your ass off, you're touring, you're doing some sessions and all this other stuff, you're doing all these random gigs and kind of building your thing. And then you get in your 30s and you start seeing like, okay, I'm seeing that there's another little path here maybe. And if you don't have those classic musician blinders on that are like, okay, I'm going to go to a gig, I'm going to make it the money, and I'm going to go home. I'm going to play with an artist, they're going to pay me, I'm going to play the same songs every night and tour, and then I'm going to make the money, I'm going to go home. Well, I can tell you right now, there's a ceiling there.
Yep. And it's probably not as high as you would think it is.
And it's not near as high as you would think it is. And it's just something that you're gonna run into if you're a lifer musician and you're a true artist that has to be, that gets bored easy and has to keep progressing. And you're doing this for the reasons that are beyond, you're driven to do this because you're an artist. You're not doing it because it's your day job. And there's a whole other bunch I could get into about all my philosophies on why people say this is my office today, and I don't really like that term because it's not your office today. This isn't a day job. You're not working at Home Depot. But what happened is as our society turned into this bling culture of if you're not a baller, you're a loser. Then what happened is these guys are feeling so insecure they don't even want to tell anybody they're a musician, because musicians stereotypically have been broke, and they don't have real careers, they can't buy a house, they can't retire, they're drunks, they're living in a van somewhere, all these things. And the reality is there's a lot of people making amazing livings doing all this that we're doing. I mean, the American dream is sitting there for everybody, but what they don't tell you is you have to work your ass off. And so it's not a talent contest. This is an endurance contest.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Big time. It's because, like, in Nashville in particular, you can throw a rock and hit an excellent guitar player. They're everywhere. And it's not to say that I don't respect the talent or the skill or the work that goes into becoming an excellent guitar player, because I am extremely mediocre on the best of days, but I love it. Right. And I decided that I wanted to figure out a way into it. I didn't want to tour with the band. I hate road trips. That was never going to be a thing I wanted to do. And I love gear. And so I had to weasel my way into this through the back door by calling guys up like Brian Wampler and telling him, hey, you want to come on my podcast? And having them go, what's a podcast? Not him in particular. But some other guys were like, what's a podcast? This is 10 years ago. And get in that way. And I've seen other shows come and go, and this is never going to be the biggest thing in the world. But consistency will win out every time. If you can keep going, you're going to win. I
Yeah.
remember hearing Josh Scott from JHS Pedals tell that to another smaller pedal builder 6 years ago. Most important thing you can do is to stick around. And if you can, you'll figure out a lot of stuff along the way.
Yeah. Stick around, show up, say yes to things you know that you can add something to, or that could, lead to something else. Figure out what you don't want to do. Most importantly, figure out what you don't want to do. So at least you can a process of elimination that out of the way. And then, man, it's really it's building relationships, and it's looking out and constantly zooming out, constantly refreshing, constantly gaining perspective, hanging out with a lot of different people. Not just the old legends, but the current guys and the up and comers. You can't just. It's like when somebody does a documentary and they only have the old legends on there. It's like, that's great, but you have to, if you want to really, paint a picture of the full spectrum, you got to keep moving. I've seen so many older musicians here get bitter and fall to the wayside because they're the grumpy old man on the block. It's like, well, country music's not the same as it was in Nashville. They ruined it, and blah blah blah. It's like, well, dude, it's time for you to move out to the country somewhere and just have a garden and retire. Because when you look at John Oates or Billy Gibbons or John Fogerty or those guys that are approaching 80 years old, they're as fresh and new as they've ever been. They're writing new songs. They're still releasing records. They're touring. They're collaborating. They're doing electronic and hip hop and neo soul music, and they're writing songs with 19-year-old kids here in Nashville and everything in between. John Fogerty's playing with his sons, and he's like smiling from ear to ear after fighting an over 50-year battle of people trying to not let him be himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are guys that are like they haven't just had little blips on the radar, speed bumps. They've fought for years and lost, almost lost everything. And so, it's those kind of guys that's like, yeah, no, they're successful. Look at these guys, man. They're not crazy. They believed in themselves. The being successful as a musician, and especially an instrumentalist, you really have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you have something to say and that you're going to make it, because and I view making it, to me, as like, okay, making a living, but also having the respect of the people that you respect. That was my goal. I wanted to be known as one of the cats, and I worked on that for 25 years in Nashville here. And in the past 15 years, I've been trying to steer that ship away from sideman and being known as an artist and more of an entrepreneurial mindset, and somebody that's going to, I didn't graduate high school. I didn't go to college. I didn't come from any money. I grew up playing music in bars in the trenches on the Gulf Coast, and came to Nashville and have experience as a working lifer musician. And so along those lines, when the social media and everything started coming in, yeah, I saw that for some reason, something in me said, okay, yeah, maybe just go with this, cultivate this, keep doing this. Okay, well, everything just ends up where it's supposed to be. There is no plan. You can't have a plan. You can't show up in Nashville after being in LA and you're saying you're a pop artist. Then you come to Nashville and you're like, oh, now I'm a country artist. Oh, no, if this doesn't work in 3 years, I'm going to New York and I'm going to be a hip hop artist. And it's like, no, man, you got to figure out who you are, set that compass heading to north, and one foot in front of the other, head down until you get where you're going. And man, that's the only way to do it. If you doubt yourself, like, the music industry is just the same as anything else anybody's trying to do on the planet. It's the inner game with yourself that you're fighting. It's nothing else. It's nobody else is keeping you from doing anything except yourself doubt.
Yeah, especially now, right? Back in the day, there was a lot more gatekeepery stuff, and there still is to some degree, but you don't have to worry about that anymore. There are so many different avenues and ways in, and talking to different people who have went to Nashville or went to other places, and they're like, I'm like, how did you get into this door? And they're like, well, they didn't open it for me. I had to go in through the window.
Yeah, you're kicking it down. Well, and to add to that too, though, the other thing is we've never had a situation like we're in right now where there's no mystery left. Everything on the planet is right there in your. We're holding it in our hand right now. I am my iPhone, of course, and I'm 46, so I've seen zero technology and all the technology.
Mm-hmm.
But there's kids now that are that don't know what it's like to not have a smartphone, and so the fact that they're comparing themselves to everybody they see on an Instagram feed or on YouTube is like, man, that's not good either. Like that's not natural to have that much information in the palm of your hand to where you're getting up every day and before you're still laying in bed and say you're some kid living in Fort Smith, Arkansas in a trailer park and you got nothing and you got no role models. Your dad's on meth and you've got cars up on blocks in the front yard and your future is not looking that great. And now you add on top of that, you're grabbing your iPhone and looking through an Instagram feed for 2 hours before you even get out of bed in the morning, and you're looking at every other 18-year-old kid driving a Ferrari and with 10 supermodels on a yacht in the Bahamas. Well, dude, now you're starting to get into a dangerous place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not to mention that 99% of that
more
stuff
less,
is
more
real.
or less watching a great guitar player. Take that out of the equation.
Right. Yeah. Well, now most of that stuff isn't even real. I have known people who have worked with some of these people you're describing, and it's like rented Ferraris, paid models, it's all just nonsense. And people think it's real. It's not real.
It's not real.
People think that, like, I'm not saying like everybody. I'm saying like what's being fed to a lot of younger people, especially, is if you're not making $1 million a year, you're not successful. It's like, well, guess what? The top 1% in the United States make $400,000. So that's
right.
So you're gonna, and that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But the point is, it's not nearly as much as what people think. They're like, oh, if I'm not balling out of control and have 3 Ferraris, then I'm a loser. It's like, no, that's not real at all. Are you doing? Do you wake up on Monday and go, all right, I get to do this thing? That's winning to me. Like
that is winning.
I used to have the Sunday scaries all the time. I guess that's a thing. I didn't know it was a thing, but that's what they call it now.
Oh yeah, I've had them.
Yeah. I don't get them anymore. Like, it's great. It's a great feeling to be able to wake up and know that, like, my day is going to be, sure, I got to do taxes and stuff like everybody else, but a lot of it's going to be talking to people like you about things that we're interested in. And what a great thing. And I thank all the listeners and the viewers for, like, allowing that to happen, because that's the only way it happens. But my point is, I'm not making no $400,000 a year, and I feel like I'm winning.
Well, man, and so, hey, man, look, do I like to have nice things? Because, hey, look, I grew up in a great family, but my parents weren't motivated by monetarily. They're just amazing people that worked and had enough and lived simply. They don't have any debt. They're healthy right now at almost 80 years old. They're 77 and 78 years old. They're healthy as can be. No medication. The house is paid for. My dad built the house. But I never wanted for anything when I was younger. I had a horse. I had guitars. We went on camping trips. We sailed, all this. We did all this crazy stuff, but it wasn't like it was all done in a very just natural way. There was no like, it was all done in just a however you do it kind of way, not a we're going to fly in first class and stay at the Ritz-Carlton kind of way.
A hands-on type of way, basically.
It was a hands-on type of way, and so I have amazing parents and an amazing family that also had great taste in music. And my dad's youngest brother is a self-taught musician, and so I learned, basically learned the ropes from him after school every day. But it was a very working class family on the Alabama Gulf Coast, and then, when I moved to Nashville, I kind of got exposed to a little bit more of a hustle mentality where, okay, especially now where there's, tons of people here that have moved from New York and LA that are, I don't know what these people do for a living, but every house here is at least $1.3 million to even get into anything that's worth living in. And it's just gone crazy. And so I got into a little bit of the hustle, like, hey, man, look, I do want to have some things. I like being able to go on vacation. I like to be able to, have a house and I've got some rental property that I just paid off, and I like to have a nice car. But I'm not sitting here. I have a very small guitar collection. I do have a nice car and a nice new house, and I'm looking at buying another house because that's another thing that's going to allow me to retire with as much comfort as I possibly can have. But I'm not sitting here trying to, I'm not waking up going, man, if I just had that other latest version of that car, I'd be happy. It's like, no, man, I got a nice car. I enjoy driving and listening to music and taking phone calls in the car. And so that's it. I'm not, but it's okay to enjoy these material things and know that they're not going to be around forever, but it doesn't define who you are as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got all this external that's nice, great. But if your body you're growing cancer cells and inside of you, then what good is anything? It's like taking your car to the car wash and having this great external image, but inside your body's falling apart. Who's more valuable at that point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd give it all away, right? You wouldn't care. No, the richest guy in the world would give everything away to have his health. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But at the same time, I mean, similarly, I'm sitting out here in my weird shed in my backyard. I constantly am kicking myself, sort of, in some ways, because I'm like, man, a 14-year-old me would be like blown away with this setup. Like blown away. Like there's no way I ever thought. I remember seeing somebody playing like a $1,500 guitar and thinking that was an impossible dream. Like that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
And there are still some things that are out there, but to me, I'm like, this is worked out okay.
Hey, Rocky.
What's up, Vincent?
Did you hear about the latest?
Latest what?
The latest drop from Maris. It's totally insane.
No, tell me more.
Maris just released Enzo X.
What's that?
Enzo X is a supernova expansion from the original Enzo into the highest quality and most flexible studio synthesizer ever created in a pedal format.
Whoa!
Enzo X combines 5 synth types, 5 drives, 3 reverbs, and 5 modulations. It also includes a full 2.5 second stereo delay, all in one pedal.
That sounds hard to use.
It's not. The UI is from the same family as the Mercury X and the LVX. It's super easy to dive in and see exactly what you are tweaking in real time.
Oh, I see. It's right there on the screen.
Yep.
Is it just for guitars, though?
Nope. You can plug almost anything into the Enzo X, including your MIDI controller.
That sounds incredible. Where do I get it?
You can pick up Enzo X online at maris.us or at any of their fine retailers across the globe.
Did you just say across the globe?
They know what I meant.
Wait, are we getting paid for this?
I'm still waiting on that cash money from last time.
He better at least give us pizza for dinner.
I'm not giving him his Enzo X back until he does.
For more information, make sure you check out maris.us, and apparently I have to go order a pizza. How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services, and it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, Right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the gear exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff.
Yeah, and I know what you mean. And so me and a buddy were talking about this the other day because I saw him on stage. He was playing with Keith Richards somewhere at some award show, and he was like, he actually got to play on stage with Keith Richards, and Keith turned around and gave him like a little smile and a nod and that kind of thing, and even like being friends with Billy Gibbons and these guys, and being seeing Billy's name come up on the phone almost every day or every other day. I talked to him. I found him his house here and all this crazy that I never thought would happen. But what it is I was talking to my buddy and I said, man, look, dude, I said, you just were on stage with Keith Richards. I said, that was last night. I said, we just did this thing a couple nights ago that was all these people and playing with all these crazy people and doing all this crazy. I got a text message from Eric Johnson a couple days ago about this thing. And just like, it was like when you were a kid, you were dreaming that. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, as you get older, you're waiting for the next big ride at the amusement park because you've already ridden the big rides.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so now the shed in your backyard that would have blown you away as a teenager, now that you've seen a bunch of sheds, it's not as impressive to you. But if I walked in there, I'd probably go, holy shit, man, this is cool as shit. I wish I had this in my backyard.
One weird moment for me, and this was years when there wasn't as much stuff. Robert Keeley came over. He was in Portland for some stuff, and when he came in, it was like, "Wow, you have a lot of guitar pedals." I was like, "Oh no, Robert Keeley thinks I have a lot of guitar pedals."
That's awesome.
That means I got a lot of guitar pedals. I think
he's probably giving all his away.
Yeah, he loves to do that. He did that day. He gave me like 3. I'm like, oh, you're such a nice guy.
I love those Keeley guys, man.
Yeah, he's amazing, fantastic dude, and fantastic pedals. And he was one of the guys. I
love
too.
That Halo.
He gave me he came on like episode 7. Still one of the best episodes I ever did. He didn't know who I was. I called him up. Was like, "You want to do a podcast?" He's like, "Sure. Can we do it tonight?" I was like, "What? Okay. Okay. Here we go."
That's awesome.
He's such a good guy. Such a good guy.
I love that. Yeah, they're nice guys, man. Mm-hmm. That's what I realized too is the kind of music that I think I told this to you guys yesterday, but man, the kind of music that me and my pals like to make, it doesn't attract a lot of assholes. Mm-hmm. It mainly attracts guys that are like, they like good old American roots music with a twist, or they like they like blues, they like country, they like rock and roll. They might like some jazz or something, but it's just a pretty organic sort of just easygoing crew of dudes that just want to play the guitar and have a beer and chill and talk about life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I found that in the music gear world too. It's like specifically in like the pedal makers and the guitar builders and all that stuff, because like I don't know what it is. A lot of these people feel like they sort of accidentally got businesses. Because they were guitar players, or still are, obviously, but like that was their thing. They were a musician first, and then they're like found some nerdy aspect to really get into, like some of us do, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, I got like 10 employees. What's going on?"
Yeah, they didn't set out for the pedals to be their career path.
Yeah, Wampler came to Nashville to be a guitar player and threw a pedal at Brad Paisley, and now that's what he does.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Literally,
I don't know if you know that story. He literally was before Brad was like Brad, he was just playing some medium-sized stage, and Brian literally like set a guitar pedal up by his pedal board, and that's how that whole thing started.
That's awesome. What a trip, man.
Yep.
God.
Yep. Well, and so that kind of something I wanted to get into with you yesterday. There we go. My mouth's working. Um, so let's hypothesize and say like somebody's 20 years old. They're pretty good at guitar. They show up in Nashville. What would you suggest they start doing? How would you suggest they start dipping their toe in these waters if they're coming totally from the outside?
Yeah. Well, that happens a lot. And I get these questions asked a lot from younger players around the world, actually. And to take it a step further, I'll tell you what I tell guys that, like, I get some guys that'll email me from like Sweden or somewhere over across the pond, and the first thing I say is I joke with them and I go, well, hey man, if you want to play the guitar for a living in Nashville, nobody's going to call you for gigs if you live in Sweden.
Nope.
So, hey, man, the first thing you need to do is you need to move. Michael Rose, God bless his soul, he said, he told me a long time ago, he goes, you got to be present to win.
Yeah.
And what he meant by that was you could take that a lot of different ways, but basically he meant you got to be here, you got to show up. And so, I kind of take it a step further and I go, look, man, first of all, move to Nashville, because Nashville is a place where it's all the greatest musicians in their small towns that all moved here. And now you've got the best of all the small towns in a little bigger town and with a little bigger pond.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you start working your way, forward from there. But I go, look, if you move to town, live in town. Don't move to Nashville and live in Mount Juliet, which is 30 minutes outside of town. When you wake up in town, you need to be able to be a few minutes from a coffee shop, a bar, a restaurant, the scene, East Nashville, downtown, 12 South, Germantown, Sylvan Park, all these neighborhoods. I call it the 440 bubble. Because you don't move 20 or 30 minutes outside of town until you've really made it. And you don't have to come to town every day anymore. But when you're young, you need to be walking into the grocery store and running into John Prine or like these days it would be, running into, Sturgill Simpson or Jason Isbell, or if you're a hardcore country guy, you're going to run into all the country people down in Franklin at the Urban Market. Keith Urban will be in there and whatever. And so you're just going to, my point is, or session guys or your favorite guitar player, Robin Ford and David Greer and Audley Freed and all the cats are going to be having coffee 5 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. You're going to run into those guys. And so that's the point. Be in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of them. And then the other one is just, man, realize that downtown Broadway is a different version of what's really going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Downtown Broadway is a tourist strip, and it's changed a lot. There's all the celebrity bars. The big status symbol now to be a country star is to have your own bar. So Posty's got one, Morgan Wallen, everybody, Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, Miranda Lambert, Lainey Wilson. They've all got celebrity bars on Broadway. And now you've got not just one honky tonk with a fiddle and steel playing real country music. Now you've got every building has 5 stories,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 2 DJ floors, 2 band floors, and a rooftop. And so it's not country music anymore. It's the hits. And so it's like Vegas. It's kind of like Nash Vegas in a way now. And so you can go down there and make money playing, but it's going to kill your soul. You're not going to be, you're going to get stuck in that cycle of probably drinking too much, late nights, So there's that whole scene. I'd say, look, if you want to go down and play on Broadway a little bit, go ahead, but just be really careful and not to get sucked into that. That is not the real career path in Nashville as a musician. To me, being a real respected lifer musician that has something to say on their instrument, that's not where you want to end up. And anybody that plays on Broadway that's listening to this that wants to send me a message and talk about it, I'm happy to go have coffee with you. But I'm telling you, from 25 years of living in Nashville, that's the truth.
Yeah. I believe that 100%. Like I told you yesterday, Nashville is my home away from home. I go there usually multiple times a year. I'm one of the owners of String Joy, so we go out and we're always doing stuff, various things. So,
well, next time you guys come to town, you got to hook up with me. I'll take you guys out to dinner.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. I'd love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll probably be there this spring, most likely.
Come on, yeah.
We got to move shop, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
moving machines. But yeah, so I'm there all the time. So all these areas, like it really does. I've been there so much, it really does feel like a second home to me. Sometimes you fly into places and you're pulling your phone out trying to figure out where you're going. I'm like, hey, I know how to navigate this airport. I know where I'm going. Like it's kind of weird to have a city that feels like a second home like that.
Yeah, which is cool because, when you're younger, you want to dart around and go to all these different places. And then you get a little older and you're like, hey, I think I'm going to go back to this place again and again and again because you get to know your way around. You don't always want to be thrown into some new, territory all the time,
Mm-hmm. It just feels cool to me, like to have like I'm almost a second local, not quite, but like it's almost I know all the areas you're talking about. I know all these places. This is where I go.
Totally. Hey, man, another thing I'll throw in there about coming to town is, when you're younger, and I keep saying when you're younger because I'm finally 46 years old and I feel like I'm not old, but I'm not young either. I've hit middle age. And so, man, I think something that's really important is you really have to figure out, I know this sounds a little woo-woo or philosophical, but you do have to figure out who you are as an artist and not just a guitar player, but as a musician, And so when you come here and you start chasing the thing that's the most successful, like when I moved here, I was like, okay, well, it seems to me like after being here for a couple of years, I've quickly learned that the brass ring to me, the guys that were the most respected, that were working the most and had, considered the most successful were the session guys.
Mm-hmm.
Road guys were road guys. Session guys were kind of session guys. There were a few artists that would take the session guys on the road and vice versa, the road guys into the studio. I was lucky. Patty Loveless and Jerry Douglas let me record on their records, even though I was technically in their touring band. Vince Gill, same way. Mainly artists that appreciate having artists in their band and not just guys that can play the record parts and they can recycle those guys anytime they want. Or, the guy starts losing his hair. Okay, he's out. We got to get a younger version. Mm-hmm. There's no respect for the musicianship with a lot of these artists. And then some of them there are. Chris Stapleton, Jason Isbell, Sturgill Simpson, those kind of guys. They're going to hire really great musicians that aren't just guys that just graduated from Belmont 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And so I would say figure out who you are and don't just chase the next shiny object, because you're eventually, if you do that long enough, you're never going to end up in a happy place. It's eventually going to sneak up on you, and you don't want that to be too late. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I went through that a couple years in. I was like, okay, well, I got to chase, these session guys, Kenny Greenberg and Rob McNally and Bukovac and all these guys that were my friends at that point. But I was like, okay, well, now it's my turn. I'm in my early 20s. I need to try to get into this session world, So I bought a bunch of amps, a bunch of gear, a bunch of guitars, and started hustling sessions. And I had a little run, but I was like, man, I don't really enjoy this. I'm not good at it. I don't like this music. I don't like the politics. I don't like the bullshit factor of having to tell a bunch of artists that their music's amazing when I know it deep down that it's not.
It's hot trash. Yeah.
It's killing my soul.
Mm-hmm.
Every solo I'd play, the producer would stop and go, hey, can you do that again and take the blues out of it? I go, dude, you're killing me. So I just kind of I wasn't good at that. I wasn't a chameleon. Every guitar I picked up, I sounded the same on it. And Michael Rhodes and some of those guys finally took me aside and they went, man, look, you need to pursue a career as more of an artist. He goes, you don't need to worry about this session thing. He goes, you're not this. He said, you have a unique voice on your instrument. You don't sound like anybody else. You need to continue doing this. And man, I just started steering the ship over the past 15 years, I started steering that ship very slowly over the course of a long time to try to change people's perception of like, hey man, I want to be more I want to be perceived as more of as a kind of a solo artist. And, some of that's worked out pretty good. And then, but the weird thing is I was still working enough in town and and when the education thing started coming in, all the online stuff, well, that gave me the freedom to not have to go out and do I never really pursued, taking my trio out and doing a lot of touring and stuff like that because it didn't seem to make that much sense. We kind of skipped the van phase. We
Right.
kind of skipped over the van phase.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying that's kind of a way to say it, but it's true, I think you locked up on me, brother. There you go. Now you're back, I think.
Oh, we froze there for a second. We're back.
Froze there for a second. Yeah.
Yep, we're back. Anyway.
You're coming back.
Yep. But it's interesting too, because when you're talking about this arc, I've been able to see it sort of outside looking in, because there's so many people that I'll hear, they say, oh, did you see the guitar player for insert artist here was amazing. The guitar player for this person was amazing. And what I've noticed is that over the past, I probably started noticing around maybe 10 years ago, somewhere in that ballpark, was I would hear, have you heard Guthrie Trapp? He's great. I'm like, who's that? I'm like, I don't know who that is. And then I'd look into it. Oh, he's played with all these people. And realizing that you're making an effort to make that sort of transition where people actually know who you are.
Yeah.
And what was the first step? How did you first start like making that transition? You've talked about it being a long arc, but what's the first step?
Well, I'll preface that by saying, yes, you're right. You have to, the feeling has to hit you at some point when you're on stage with another artist. And I was lucky, man. I didn't have to play any commercial country music on the road. I got to work with Patty Loveless, who's a country music Hall of Famer. We'd had a bluegrass segment. It was perfect. Mandolin, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, great musicians, great band. And then I went on to play with Jerry Douglas, who was a childhood hero. Totally different thing, but also based in Nashville. And so I was really lucky. But even with those artists, I still started getting to the point where when you're burned out and you got to quit. It's about 4 or 5 years in, and that's on the long end before you go, man, I'm burned. I've played these songs every way I can play them. I'm just burned out. I need something new. I need something fresh. Well, perfect. Here comes Jerry Douglas. Wow. Amazing. Well, we did that for off and on for 6 or 7 years, played all over the world, opened up for Paul Simon for 3 months, did all kinds of crazy. And then I just started going, man, I'm burned. I gotta make a change. And I quit. I'll say quit. It kind of was in between an Alison Krauss thing or something. And I ended up it just fizzled out, and it kind of just went its own way. I'm not going to say I walked out or anything. And I didn't get fired. It just kind of, the gig, everybody knew the time was up,
Yep.
And so I've never been fired from anything, but that just kind of ran its course. And then I worked with Ashley Monroe a little bit, put her band together for her. We did some recording with the Pistolantes, which was Miranda Lambert and Ashley and Angelina Presley. And then that was about the end of it. We did that tour with Ashley, and I was like, man, this is officially like, I am not doing this anymore. And then I stopped taking gigs with other people as far as tours. I did work with John Oates a good bit in that time, but that was like very little. We'd go off and do 2 weeks, or we'd do a week, or we'd do a weekend here and there. It wasn't like a big commitment, and we were just friends, and we'd do some recording, and that was easy. And I was working with Sean Camp locally, and we do a couple little trips here and there, but nothing crazy. No big commitments anymore. So I just started pulling back, man, and kind of being more in charge of my own schedule. I just basically took charge of my life a little bit more, and I was like, man, I'm going to start fighting and clawing my way to the seat at the table, And And that's kind of what I did. And it was almost subconsciously. I'm saying there's a power that takes over you in this realm of music, the gift of music or whatever it is in your makeup that will not allow you to fail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it won't. It's that powerful. You know, I mean, now I'll tell you what has failed. All my relationships, no kids. You know, never had kids. You know, knock on wood. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but I've never gotten a girl pregnant. I'm going to knock on wood again. Then I'm going to knock on wood again.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, no family, no nothing. You know, just recently, about a month ago, I think my latest relationship that I had for about 2 years, it's definitely not doing great and probably over. So, you know, but that's okay. I tell these people right up front, I'm like, look, you know, this is something that's probably not going to slow down anytime soon. I mean, I got about another 10 years in me, hopefully, that I'm going to work my ass off. And then I'm going to start chilling a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But right now, like it would be disrespectful for the art form for me to gain the momentum that I've worked my entire life for and then stop. I mean, now's when you double down. I'm 46. I'm not 56. I'm not 66. I'm going to take this momentum and ride it until the wheels fall off. And then at least I can say that I did that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Goodhertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblinssaudio.com. I think you're going to like what you find.
Well, I mean, and who's to say, right? Because some people have been like, you think you're going to do this? You know, I started doing this when I was 27. And they're like, you think you're going to do this till you're like 65? I'm like, I hope I do it till I'm 85. Yeah. That's my attitude right now. Maybe when I get older, it will change. Maybe I'll want to slow down and do some different things or find a different avenue or whatever. But I'm like, right now, I'm not going to retire. Why would I retire? Even if I have the ability to, why would I stop? Because everybody I see that like actually stops. Now, this is different if they stop and they have something else they want to do. Right. But when they stop and go sit in their chair, they fall apart immediately. Like within like 6 months, they become different people. And I'm like, I'm a little scared of that, to be honest. Yeah. But also I'm like, I don't think I have the wiring to sit still. I'd never have. I mean, anything could change, but I just don't see that in my future at all. I'm going to not do anything. I'm going to retire and not do anything. I don't see it.
I don't think any of us are going to be like that because I'm the same way, man. Look, I right now I'm in some sort of a work vortex where the past like 6 months have been, I mean, literally, I just was able to do laundry this morning for the first time in like a week. I did dishes. My mom was here. When she left, I had a sink full of dishes. I had to do my dishes. I had to take a shower for the first time in 2 days because I've been working from morning till night for days and days and days because I just say yes to most things I say yes to, unless it's something that I absolutely know I don't want to do or something that's not putting energy in the right bucket. You know, I'm learning some things about, okay, let's not create more work for ourselves that's not truly being productive. We can all be as busy as we want to be every day, but is it being productive? That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so we got to be productive. I mean, there's a couple projects I've let go because it's like, man, this was a great idea. We brought some people together. It was fun for a minute, but it's not going anywhere. And I'm always the one that ends up wrangling everything because I don't have a family. I don't have kids. So by default, I'm just the dude that's like, hey, man, here's where I'm going to put the rehearsal together. I'm going to get the venue. I'm going to make sure there's, beverages there. I'm going to, everything. I'm the dude that's like, if I wasn't a musician, I would probably love being a tour manager,
Yeah.
And but we see that people that are detail oriented that aren't trying to be so cool that they don't say anything, they're the people that get done,
100%. Yep.
So I'm the guy that doesn't mind being the squeaky wheel when I see that something needs to get taken care of, and what happens is people see that and they end up respecting you more for it,
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the other thing too. Like, I've never had anything good happen to me by doing nothing. Ever. Never, nothing positive has ever came out of me just being like, well, I'll just wait and see. Like,
except our blood pressure.
that I could, yeah. But then even if you're trying to relax actively to lower your blood pressure, you're kind of doing something.
Well, that's true.
You are taking charge in some way. That's
Yes,
the thing
indeed.
is, I'm just like, a lot of people wait for life to happen to them.
Right.
And I did that too. I'm not saying I'm immune to it at all. It's just I had to realize, and it comes in waves. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I just kind of want to coast for a minute, but that's usually because I've been grinding for 6 months, and that usually lasts a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then we're on to the next thing. I just don't see how, if you're not, the realization I had. I've told this story on the podcast a few times. I was literally sitting in a Subway / convenience store parking lot in Northwest Portland after my shift. I was working in the oil industry at the time, and I sat there and I was in the car and I'm going like, man, this sucks. I was like, it doesn't have to, like, it's not the worst thing I've ever done. In fact, it was a really good job that I worked really hard to get. I'd been there for several years, and I was like, why am I so miserable? Why does this suck so much? And I was like, well, because this is not how you're wired. You're going against your own wiring to do this,
Right.
Because you think it's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then I went, well, you're 26. What if you put all that same effort into doing something you actually like?
Right.
And then, some people thought it was crazy. I had friends actually actively sit down and like, well, I don't know, Blake, I don't know about this, in a concerned way, not like they were trying to be mean or discouraging, but they're like, I don't know if this is the way you should go. And I'm like, this is the way I'm going. This is, and if it doesn't work, guess what? I can always come back to this.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. People are so scared to make big changes because they think that they can't go back to whatever they were doing before. Most likely in the United States, you can go back to what you were doing before, or maybe something even better.
Right.
Like, it shouldn't be as scary. Now there are exceptions to this. I'm being, I'm kind of generalizing, but for most people, they shouldn't be as scared. Nothing's as permanent as it seems when it comes to jobs.
You're totally right, man. I've always said this too, and I actually said it yesterday. You gotta sometimes take some drastic change. You have to make some drastic changes to shake things up a little bit, and just tell the universe that you're gonna shake it up, and to get back to the original question, how do you start doing your own kind of solo thing? You just gotta quit. You gotta quit your job, man. And so you quit your job, whatever that is. It was touring or whatever, and then you start kind of saying no to certain things too. And so when people see you, when it's like, how can I miss you if you don't go away?
Right.
And so if somebody sees you and you're sitting in with every band in town, every single night and every single situation, it's like you kind of got to go into hiding for a little bit and just do things that are going to be perceived as high level.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds a little douchey and a little maybe opportunistic or premeditated or strategic, maybe it is. But you got to kind of do all these things in an organic kind of natural way. It's kind of like promoting all the things that we do. It's like we know we're not selling bullshit, so then I can double down on promoting stuff. But if I was just selling a bunch of garbage, then I'm kind of full of,
Yeah.
So there's a way to do this and still be yourself, but not be afraid to monetize it and make a good living at it,
I think that's the key, because if what you have is good, and it's good, and that should be, I say this all the time about guitar gear, because I talk to a lot of companies about doing this stuff.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, the product has to be excellent. That's all there is to it. And if it's not,
Right.
it's probably not going to do very well, most likely. That's just what it is. That's the base level. That's ground zero.
That's ground zero.
Everything else is what you build on top of that. So if once you have a good product, no matter what that product is, you can then sell it without it being a bad thing. You're selling something that people actually want. They may not know they want it yet, but once they discover what it is, I never am upset when I spend my money and I get a product and that product is good. I'm never like, oh man, I shouldn't have bought that. It's when it's bad that it feels like you got taken advantage of. Nobody's upset about spending their money on things that they enjoy. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And these days it's like, quality control and customer service and all those things are so rare on a level that they used to be. I mean, there's only a handful of people left that are like really, really taking their businesses like, on a high level of like, and what's happened is all that now is considered like boutique and bespoke and super artisan, and like in the old days it was just called good work ethic and good customer service.
Right. It was just what it was, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Now it's like, I love going to the hardware store because I can still talk to 5 people that kind of know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
It's like, but it's crazy, man. I mean, there's a lot of getting back to like the hustle and what we were talking about. Yes, absolutely. We have to work hard. We have to hustle. You're going to get out of this what you put into it. But on the other hand, there is a balance there that's extremely difficult to manage. I mean, even eating good and getting exercise and taking care of yourself, man, I am so up and down with that. It's unbelievable. And, it's just something it's just hard, man. And so these guys that are friends of mine that do as much as I'm doing and more, and they've got 3 kids and they're married and they're doing all that stuff. I'm like, dude, I would be dead. You're like Superman to me. How are you doing this? Because I know I'm exhausted every day. How are you doing this? Well, they're smarter than me and they've figured out some sort of way to balance it out. I haven't really figured that out yet, but it's funny because even we were talking about the blood pressure and even the things that, like I got this app on my phone called Insight Timer. It's a guided meditation, which I'll sit down and do 5 or 10 minutes when I can throughout the day, just to try to keep some calmness going. Because as you can tell, I get pretty worked up, and so I'll put that on. But here's the funny thing: even the things that we're doing now that are supposed to be in the moment and calming us down, and like get back to the foundation of nature and our breath and all these things that we're supposed to be doing, even those now are monitored by your progress. Hey, did you get 5 days in this week?
Right.
Hey, did you meditate 6 consecutive days? It's like, man, don't make that a progress report also.
Right. I'm trying not to worry about it. Right.
But that's what it is. It's like everything's on an app that's like, okay, you went for a walk to relax. Did you walk? Did you get your 10,000 steps in? It's like, well, Jesus, now you've ruined the whole thing.
Yeah. I stay on it, but like, I like to, well, it's a weird thing. I train like a power lifter. I'm not a power lifter because in order to be a power lifter, quote unquote, you have to compete. And I don't, but I have a coach and I train like that. Yeah. The reason I do is because ironically, having that outlet where, it's very stressful at times.
I bet.
But by having that outlet, it calms me down the rest of the time. And it took me a long time to figure that out. I need these moments where I'm like, hey, if you don't get this up, it's going to be a problem. And that's all you can think about it for those couple seconds.
Yeah.
There's nothing else. And it takes, like, my first max attempt on a squat that I did with my coach, he was like, "You went somewhere else."
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
like, "Your eyes went somewhere else." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I did," and I liked going there
All right.
for a second. No, I don't want
Yeah.
to live there all the time, but for that second where you can't worry about your notifications, you can't worry about taxes, you can't worry about your income, you can't worry about anything. It's like you get that up or you don't, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, because if you do worry about all that other, you're going to drop it on your foot.
Yep. Yeah, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah,
and not fall with it on your face. So,
oh my God, right? Yeah.
So it's not. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's the healthiest outlet per se, but it works for me mentally as much as it does physically, because it keeps me on the level the rest of the time.
That's why and it's the same thing with music. So, when I go play with the trio on Monday nights, and I'm able to play my own music for 2 hours and get out there, I lose my mind, and the crowd would agree. They'd be like, "Yo, yeah, he's lost his mind." But I do. I check out, and I'm like, man, I go to this place that's like it's the happiest place in the world. And when things are clicking good, there's nothing better, and it makes all the other that we do worth it. But you're right, man. I mean, we're all on top of our game and trying to stay organized and keep everything professional and moving forward. But the end goal is to have those moments of our outer body experience,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Well, Guthrie, we've gotten close to the hour mark. I've got 2 classic questions that I like to wrap these episodes up with.
Sure.
But before we do that, I like to give you the chance to take the stage. I know we got some stuff we want to talk about on the education side. You can also shout out anybody you want to shout out, say hi to your grandma, whatever you want to do. The floor is yours now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks a bunch for having me on here, and thanks for listening to all these ramblings. I mean, I get fired up and passionate about these things because it is our lives, and it's fun, and hopefully we're able to help and shed some light on some of these things about our careers and our lives and our journeys that aren't just where to put your fingers on the fretboard or what pedal to buy.
Right.
There's a lot. To me, there's a much bigger picture here to all this, and it's about community and relationships. And I wish I did more of these podcasts. I feel bad that I haven't reached out to anybody, but to do them. But I'm glad we're on a good tick here with some this week. And I'm not going to give anybody a big sales pitch. I will say that there's a bunch of courses that I'm having a blast doing. We put a bunch of, I say, art and soul. We're putting our art and soul into these, and working with great people. Artist Works is the one that is getting the spotlight this week because they're releasing a completely new, revitalized, and refreshed and revamped website. The way they're doing everything has completely been overhauled. It's awesome. And my school, proudly to say, that they're going to be launching to kick it off. It'll be my new school with Artist Works. And the thing that makes that school different, they're great people, but also this the video exchanges has been amazing. I've had guys that I've been with for 10 or 11 years going back and forth with videos exchanges. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that. And that's all I'll say is check that out. Luckily, my name is very easy to find. I make myself very easy to find on anything on the internet. So check out the YouTube channel, check out the Instagram. I try to keep it fun and educational, and not just not just a bunch of click the links below and a bunch of shameless self-promotion and advertising. So join our community and let's continue on together,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of clicking the links below, wherever the heck you are watching or listening to this podcast, wherever the words are, because it goes on YouTube, it goes on Spotify, it goes everywhere. Wherever the words are, you'll find the link to all that stuff and to Guthrie's website. So that'll be nice and easy for you if you do want to check that stuff out. So
nice. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, everybody. We got the final questions. Here we go.
No math or science questions, please.
No. These are ones I think you'll be perfectly adept at answering.
Okay, great.
First one, what's your favorite boss pedal?
Ooh. Damn, that's a good one. Well, I'll say this in 2 ways. The one I use the most is the tuner.
Of course. Yep.
But the second one is I like that old white DD. Is it the DD5 or the DD3 that has the reverse delay sound on it?
The DD5 has the reverse. Yeah.
I like that. I like the DD5,
Mm-hmm.
and I also like the DM2, and I also like the green tremolo. So those are my
Yes.
3.
Yes. And I just got unexpectedly, I walked into my local guitar center and there were 2 used Boss pedals that I'd been looking for. And so I walked out with a PS5 and a PS6 the other day while I went in to go buy picks. So that's the dangerous
awesome.
thing.
and then I will add, just for the education purposes, I don't use this pedal, but I probably need to. But a lot of my friends in Nashville, the secret weapon is the Boss EQ pedal.
Yeah. Yep. The GE7. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It can do
All
so
right.
many things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. And this is fun because you're in Nashville and we can get nerdy about it. What is your favorite kind of pizza?
Ooh, well, again, I'll preface by saying the brick oven wood fired pizza has gone berserk in Nashville. There's about 5 or 6, probably more, 10 or 15, probably in the Nashville greater area. I will say that I do like Naples style pizza, and we've got one here right up the street at a place called Urban Cowboy that started in Brooklyn. They've got a place attached to their compound called Roberta's.
Yeah.
And it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And to add to that, Lachlan Table is Caddy Corner. They also have a brick oven, and their pizza is really good. Then up the street, we just had Sean Brock, who's a celebrity chef. He was really good friends with Anthony Bourdain. He lives right across the street from where I'm sitting right now. He's got a new restaurant up here that you might not even been to yet. It's up here at Riverside Village, and it's called Show, SHO, Pizza Bar. And it is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the. I haven't been there yet. It's been open since it opened after my last trip, and that is a Japanese style pizza, which might sound weird to people, but it's not like sushi pizza. It is doing what the Japanese do. They take it and make everything the best it could possibly be.
Yeah, and you know what? You're right, but it's still, if you went there, you would be like, this is just really good Naples style pizza.
Right, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And it is. It's fantastic. But those are 2 or 3 of my favorites, and there's other ones. I mean, there's, like I said, it's really big here right now, and I'm sure it's big everywhere. But these guys have it dialed in, man. It's really good.
Yeah, I need to visit that. I've been to the Roberta's in Brooklyn. I have not been to the one in Nashville.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it's fantastic. It's a legendary spot at this point. Bella Napoli, there in Nashville, does a pretty good wood-fired pizza, but the secret there is their lasagna is banging. And I'm not even that big of a lasagna guy, but it's so good. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say that, because that place has been in Nashville since I moved here. And my friend, we call him Young Tom, because we've got a middle-aged and an old Tom. So young Tom is my helper, tech helper, and stuff like that. And he loves Bella Napoli.
It's very good. Yeah,
he's a big fan.
I like it quite a bit. The pizza's very good. The lasagna, that's where it's at there.
Well, I got to go check that out. And yeah, man, if anybody wants to know any bars, restaurants, venues in Nashville, I have a big master list that I've compiled over the past 25 years. It could probably use a little editing and additions and subtractions, but if anybody wants that, maybe I should post that somewhere.
There you go. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I'll at least send it to you for sure. You might have some new spots on there.
Oh man, I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Guthrie, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. We're going to slide over to Patreon, and I have a question for you over there we'll get into, if that works for you.
Awesome, man. Thanks a bunch.
Yep. All right, everybody. For Guthrie, this is Blake, and as always, folks, good luck and good tones. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. If you want to hear Guthrie and I talk about cars, yeah, we talk cars, you can go over to patreon.com/tonemob, where for just $5 a month, you get access not only to the ad-free feed of this podcast, but extra bonus episodes every single week. And this week is no exception. You're going to want to slide over there. It really does help the show out a lot, but also there's a ton of content back there for you. And I appreciate everybody who does that. But if that's not in the cards for you right now, I totally understand. If you could do something for free, though, that would help me, I would really appreciate that. And that would be share this with a friend, rate and review it all that good stuff. Whatever platform you're checking it out on, please give me some feedback. It really does help a lot. It helps people find the show, helps people know that it's a real show once they see that there are people actually interacting with it. And yeah, it means the world to me. So yes, please do that. And please check out all things Guthrie Trapp by Googling him. You know, he's easy to find. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you on the internet very, very soon. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.